people?
Who are you people?
You people.
But yeah, no, the whole thing about the vaccination, it's not like I definitely wouldn't get either of the RNA ones. You're not rewriting my DNA without me knowing every single fucking ingredient. It's just not what I signed up for. As far as like being like, well, the Johnson & Johnson was this, that, or the other. Dude, if I don't have COVID, I'm not spreading COVID. I don't give a fuck. I just don't care. The fact that everyone's like, well, what if you want to do this? Well, what if you want to do that? Well, now you're holding things hostage for something that shouldn't matter.
Exactly.
Like you're trying to force a vaccine so safe that they force you to take it for a disease so deadly you have to be tested to find out if you have it.
And if you do have it, you can't come to the hospital. They tell you to stay the fuck home.
Wait, what?
If you have COVID and you have an outpatient appointment, you can't come to the hospital. You have to stay home.
Yeah, but so I can't check in for COVID?
No.
I mean, if you know you have it, no.
Yeah, if you've tested positive and you know you have COVID, you are not allowed anywhere near a hospital.
Now, if you don't know you got it and you go there and they test you, they're going to send your ass home.
So my stepmother is a emergency room nurse, and I don't feel like that's accurate.
What do you feel? What did she tell you then? Tell me what she told you.
And
why do you not feel it's accurate? What do you feel is accurate?
Like I said, if you're coming for
What did she tell you? No. We don't do that here, baby. What did she tell you? Did she tell you something opposite? Did she tell you anything? Or do you just think? You said you feel. Did she tell you?
she deals with COVID patients every day.
Okay, so what? Tell me.
So you're saying if you have COVID,
No, what are you
can't
saying?
go to
I
the
said what I
hospital.
said. What are you saying?
I'm saying if you have COVID, you can go to the hospital.
Why? What are they going to do?
Remdesivir.
Yeah, I was going to say.
If you don't know, be
remdesivir.
quiet. Okay, I'm talking. I work in the field. Trust me. I tell patients they can't come when they tested positive personally.
For an outpatient procedure.
That's
but
what I said.
If you're
No,
dying,
but that's what I
you
was
can
asking.
go to the hospital, right?
So you don't hold on.
Because you're dying, not
no,
because you got COVID.
You missed the part where I asked. Is like I can go to the hospital if I have tested.
I corrected you. I talked to you. I corrected you. Then you can't talk about his mama, who the fuck you talking about, and then he didn't have nothing to say.
But that's because there was a misunderstanding.
And
there.
what? No, yeah, he had it. I know what's going
No,
on.
I had the same thing because
I corrected you. I know what you said, James, and I corrected you. I
you
said
can either keep up or you can't, mister. I got $3,000 scotch.
you forget who the fuck I am, James. I ain't been here long enough. Don't fucking forget who I am, goddammit.
you got all hot in the last.
You
Like I went and
goddamn
had a
right, because you
cigarette. I
ain't
came
felt
down
shit
here.
since I've been gone, James. Goddamn, I can see in the eyes.
When's
You're
the last
happy I'm here.
When's the last time you came?
I don't know.
That's a personal question, man. Jesus. Oh, that's the show.
That was
I
a
mean,
good
this
one.
morning before work, but
Hey.
I feel like sometimes you're like an athlete. You don't like jack off or have sex like for like 36 hours before coming into this room because you need that intensity.
James, I don't need to not do nothing to have intensity. I got it all the motherfucking time. Just because you walk around this bitch with no motherfucking energy don't mean everybody not like that, James. I got it whenever I want it, baby. I tap into it. That's what I do.
You're not a little slower if you hit the court like right after you drop a nut.
No.
that's
that
just
ain't-
you dealing with deficiencies in your body, James.
Yeah.
My guess is you're probably not hydrated.
Look at your body,
properly.
James. Do you know what your body got to do to drop a nut? That motherfucker, you probably be in a fucking coma when you get done. They put so much work on that motherfucking spare tire you got in the middle of that bitch.
Also, sports science actually proved that whole theory to be wrong.
Oh, of course, but it was
Because,
like a
yeah.
prevailing attitude. I remember like
Because that was a theory.
Why
that
are
everyone
you
thought.
always stuck on ideals that existed before you
because
were born?
they're very fun to explore. It
Yeah,
has,
but
it has
you-
nothing to do with
but
my
you get
buy-in
hung up
to
on
it.
ideals.
But
to
isn't that
where-
what this show is about? Like we
Yeah,
talk
but
about
I'm
something
trying
that
to
is like everybody
understand-
thinks it's this way, and let's like fucking turn that on its ear. So can't I be the guy that presents those ideas and lets you pick it apart?
Why do you always paint yourself as this dude that's just so innocent that's just presenting these concepts like you don't believe this bullshit, James? I can't stand you, motherfucker.
The reason you can't do that, James,
I'd
is
like to
because
say I
it's not
missed you.
based in a reality. It's based in a layer of bullshit from your upbringing.
We call that race mind, James. You can't get out of it. It's just the way you can't.
Well,
just
you're the
world.
one that spent the whole first hour telling me how the N-word energy is coming through, and I'm not allowed to use that term.
I didn't. Who said that?
I know.
That's what society
For
told
once.
James.
I'm
For
not
once
getting
have
no-
I ever said you can't do anything, say anything, James. That ain't even in my motherfucking vocabulary. So you know I ain't never said that. Say what you want to say.
No.
Say it.
Yeah, James. Say it. Say it right
You
now.
say it too, goddammit. You work with them. Both of you motherfuckers get fired, you niggas. You honky crackers. I can say it.
I'll say it if James says it, and then watch me not say it.
They're like, on 3.
1, 2.
This turned into the dumbest middle school sleepover I've ever seen.
All right, 1, 2, 3, nostalgia.
So before you decided to get hung up on a word, James, you asked a question in a way that came off very condescending, and now I'd like to answer it.
Go for it.
You can be the guy that presents those ideas, but you present them like they're fact. And that's what I object to 90% of the time. You were taught certain things, and now those things are outdated to a system that no longer exists, but they're still the things you believe in because they're the things you were taught. You defended the gold standard tooth and nail when we went off the gold standard before you were alive.
I didn't. How did I defend it? Well, no. Let's not get into the weeds here. Okay. Let me provide a counterpoint. You at one point, maybe 100 episodes, provided the context like if I am going to play a role, I'm going to play that role 100% and I'm never going to break. Okay?
Sure.
So, as the person that is largely in this room that has maybe been brought up on all these, it has on all these ideas and all these like preconceived notions, I can present those with a level of conviction because, quite accurately, I am somebody that believed these 100% for a good portion of my life.
Absolutely.
So, in the interest of having wonderful interplay between everybody, doesn't it make sense for me to back up the way that I felt for some majority of my life? Doesn't that make for a good discussion? Yes, I'm going to take a knee because I know it's psychotic what I'm bringing up, but that's me today, not me for the most of my life. So I owe it to this room and to our listeners to present that in a way that's like, there's plenty of people that still believe the shit that I have learned not to.
Here's the difference.
he-
Hang on.
he-
Hold on, hold on. I need to
Arm-
put this right now. This is white people energy. Because he could just, I said what the fuck I said. That's nigga energy. But he had to go
for
through
sure.
this long trying to explain
And
it. It
here's
still
the
makes no
thing.
sense.
I figured out that I didn't need to be a character. I needed to be me. And now whatever I feel passionate about, I express.
You need to channel
The
your
way
inner-
that you present your character that you decide to portray, I confuse real life with, like, you are my friend, James. Whether you love me, you hate me, I'm just here one day a week. But, like, I sincerely care about your well-being and you're my friend. I don't always see the character you portray. I just see you say crazy shit and then look at me upset when I call you out on it.
Not at all. There have been 2 times in the 100-some hours 200+ hours we've spent in this room together or any other facsimile. 2 times. I don't take offense to it. I know that I have grown beyond that. But if I am still 70% of a thing because it was 70% of my life believing that, why am I not presenting that 70% as opposed to the 30% that tells me that I was wrong? That's not interesting, and it doesn't help me learn because even though I've just learned it, listening to the rest of the people in this room, I always get different perspectives on things every fucking Monday.
So
even
you're
though
choosing de-evolution with the option to learn something.
you ask
than
questions,
to just learn something.
you ask questions, you present
No,
a
I
point,
ask
and
questions.
you present a point, and you allow your hypothesis or your point to be completely deconstructed. You have to allow that to happen. It's something that I enjoy.
Fair.
It betters me the time we spend when you guys do that. It actually betters me. Even though I already agree with you, there are still points and energies that I did not understand about whatever topic it may be. So it's not that I'm playing a character, it's that I'm being me for as much me as there is.
I guess that's fair, but the way I now look at the world and the way I approach things, it feels like you don't take anything seriously. Because you present ideas that I know are dumber than what you are. And, like, I get it. We go through this probably once a month where you have to explain that you're being a character. And then I plead to you, James, just be James. And then, like, I forget, and you continue to play a character, and then I get upset because you look like a fucking idiot.
I'm okay
Because
looking like an
you're
idiot.
my friend. But I'd rather have you grow as a person and be my friend and be honest with what we're doing than be 70% of what you were, because that's some weird, deluded hippie bullshit. You could have been a serial murderer 10 months ago, James, but that's not who you are right now. Dude, I am a felon. I am a fucking junkie. Okay? 2 hardcore federal felonies, not local bullshit. I had a pending RICO case, James. Did you know those don't go away? They just exist forever?
Yes, as you've informed me. I didn't know that until you told me.
But the point is, I am not that now. Why would I represent those ideals? Because that's what I was in the past.
But, okay, so you don't represent those ideals, but it's still a perspective that you can even, I don't know how to phrase this, like retroactively relate to. If somebody tells you about a story, okay, in this room, that is something that you went through early in life and that you have grown from, you do have interactions where you're just sort of like, yeah, that's the way it is. Yes, you have moved beyond that, but you engage with the person in this room based on, it's like, I know what that's about.
But that's not how you engage it, James.
No, because it's a slightly different scenario. But I have to admit that it's like, yeah, there's
But my whole thing is, James, and this I'm going to do it again. I am pleading with you not to be a character, but to be James. Because as soon as you decide you want to represent this 70% of what you were, then you're blocking out something else entirely.
I will.
All I'm asking you is to give honest answers instead of creating better dramatic radio.
I give
We're
you honest
not-
answers.
You just admitted that, like, oh, well, this is how I felt. This is 70%
Yeah, but
of what I
that's-
was. That is not relevant to what you are right now, James. Do you practice those ideals now, or have you adapted and advanced?
I have to learn from your past.
Sure, and then you move on from your past.
Perhaps.
What have you learned from
Tradition
your
is just the
past?
hobbies of the dead, James.
Oh no, trust me, I get that. Like I have
So
enough-
is most of your education, unfortunately, and I'm sure your parents
Well,
paid a
and-
lot for it.
Well, and see that's
but
the
now you
biggest
have
issue
to advance
here.
past those things.
How but and that for me is a very impactful thing is where I am now and looking at the state of education and looking at the conversations we've had in this room, the topics we've covered, the number of times that you have told me to Google something only for me to discover that I was 100% wrong. Like these are all positive things.
Sure.
But those are also honest. Like, I was always raised or educated to believe this. The one piece of my education that I appreciate the most is how they told me to critically think, so that when the people in this room fucking prove me wrong on a thing, I go, huh, wow, didn't know that.
Let me tell you what's going on with James. James is accommodating. So y'all conversation will go on forever because every time you say something, he's going to say something that kind of make it seem like he's agreeing with what you're saying, but he's going to keep saying the same thing.
No, yeah.
So it's going to go on forever. It's because he instead of just saying, I don't know what the fuck he wants to say, he's going to keep giving you these answers that's not really going against you, but it's not really saying anything either. It's just
Sure,
kind
yeah,
of
he's
going.
talking in a loop.
It's in a loop. But that's fine. That's part of the whole thing. That's what we're trying to get you out of. That's why I yell at you, to break you out those cycles of trying to bullshit your way through shit. Because I don't let you bullshit me. So I just stop you. But it's fine though. We'll get you out of that.
Well, so you bring up, you know what? Let's do this. We touched slightly on this last week, but I'm gonna give it a slightly.
I like
different...
when a white dude say, "Let's do this," because he's been say something crazy. Go ahead.
So
Let's
no,
fucking
no,
do
no.
this.
I'll play game here.
Okay.
So
Like to play a
last
game?
week we talked a little bit about like where my head has been at over the preceding blah blah blah. One of the things that as I've examined that is one of the problems that I have is that I will focus on an interaction. Okay, so I'll give you an example. I go up to Armstrong and say, "Hey Armstrong, will you give me a ride here?" You have two options. You can say yes or no. In a gray universe, there's somewhere in the middle. Well, what's the issue? So in my brain, I focus on that middle one. Well, what are the stipulations? My goal is definitely to get you to say yes. But what are all the things that you can do that deviate me away from that? And then when I get to the end of a train of that thought, I go back to the beginning and I follow a different train. And it's infinite. Okay? This is the way, like, if I get into a negative, like a weird brain space, this is what I do, is I follow all these things, and it's fucking terrible because it like consumes my brain.
Don't do it.
I look,
Ask a motherfucker. Stop. Get yourself out. Because you just said it, James. You put yourself in a gray area.
No,
you can
you're
always
right.
create a gray area for anything, James. What about? Did we have a conversation about gray areas before? We've had a couple conversations. No gray area, James. You're getting lost there. That's infinite. I keep telling you that shit.
let Bear go.
And I told you last week, if you can't confront the motherfucker and ask them what the intention
okay.
was,
Oh.
that person does not deserve to be thought about.
Okay, so given that conversation, to bring it back to that point, I did exactly that and everything's fine. Okay? All of that because of that conversation. I was direct, got it.
And let me guess,
It's all
you
fine.
overreacted to
Of course I
absolutely
did.
nothing.
Of course I did. But that's why I'm bringing it back to this idea of like the thought chains of things. Because a lot of people, like, you can just sort of examine, like, okay, it's a two-step process to get me to wherever it can be, like situational analysis, right? But I get trapped in my own brain and just like, okay, and it's like, okay.
I don't like when you say I get trapped in my own brain because that's an inaccurate statement. You get trapped in a fight or flight mode, and that's why you can only think in how does this work? How does this work? How do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? What's the outcome of this? What's the outcome of this?
No, that's
You're
a
not
very
thinking logically. You're reacting to nothing.
Yes. No. Okay.
So quit
everything
saying-
you said there was accurate. It's
So
fight or
quit saying
flight, and
I'm
it's-
stuck in my brain.
He's not
Because if
reacting
you
to
took
nothing.
the time to actually fucking think about it, you'd be like, oh, this doesn't fucking matter.
But let me tell you what he said it. He said that he used the example of, I want you to take me somewhere you can say yes or no. His objective is to get you to say yes because he doesn't want to deal with no.
Correct.
And that's all it is.
Yep.
It's evasion of
Thank you for
of
picking
rejection.
that up.
That's all it is.
Thank you
and
for
you'll
picking
go
that
through
up.
all of that. You'll drive yourself insane to avoid the motherfucker telling you, that's how fucking goofy it is. But that's literally what people do all the fucking time.
100%.
Why are you so afraid of someone telling you no?
I don't know. And to both of your points, like during that like thing that I went through, is like I all of a sudden was like, why? Like I had that conscious thought, that rational thought of like, do I really give a shit? And really, what is the question I want answered? Is it all these other tertiary questions? Is it all this other bullshit? It's like, if I get a yes here, awesome. If I get a no here, also awesome. Like, why am I so concerned about it? But I had to get to the point, like, because my brain doesn't shut the fuck up at times, and I have to be like, no, you shut the fuck up. I figured this out. But that's fairly recent experience for me.
You got to be okay with no, man. It blows my mind how white people respond
Oh, why is
to
it
no.
always white people?
I don't. But you tell me, motherfucker, you white. Why you asking me?
Wait a minute.
It's always you motherfuckers.
Wait,
it just
what?
blows.
Having
What?
experienced both growing up as a black person and then trying to live as a white person, I can tell you that it is white people.
It's just y'all do not expect. No, you expect some roundabout bullshit that James does all the time.
The super passive aggressive crap that doesn't actually commit to anything.
Exactly. It exonerates you of guilt because white people have this guilt problem that was put on them by their religions. And so they try to alleviate it by never taking responsibility for anything. And they have a whole bunch of ways of doing that shit.
If no one ever tells me no, I never put anyone in a bad position.
Yep. And it's predicated off of religion telling you how to act. Don't be this way. Be nice to everybody. And so you've made all these people try to be nicer than the human can be because humans are fucking ridiculous. You gotta get to a point where you gotta realize humans ain't shit. When you learn that, then you can love them for what they are.
Yeah.
But everybody's walking around lying, coming up with all these elaborate schemes of not trying to take responsibility for who the fuck they are. And if they just be who the fuck they are, then we can get along. But we got to go through all the fucking bullshit of trying to figure out what the fuck you trying to say because you're trying to conceal it because you don't want responsibility for what you say. And that's where all the bullshit gets mixed up at. That's why I tell people, be honest. Just be fucking honest. Who gives a fuck if it burns down? If you have it by a lie, it's a lie anyway. And you live in a lie. And that's what everybody's fucking got a problem at. They live in lies, and they just don't want to admit it. Like I say, ask
And
the
even
man.
if they're not living lies, they're definitely not living truths.
True.
And that's a whole nother problem. You think you know what the truth is. That's another thing. When you get a motherfucker in power that think they know the truth, get ready. Because he backed by God. And there is no truth. Everything is paradoxical, so you can find your own truth. It's your truth. Yours. By yourself. Don't run out and tell nobody shit. It's yours. Everybody got their own path to follow. And once everybody knows that and everybody get on their own mother's path and go there and you fuck with the people you need to get ahead, everything will be fine.
What's the most personal question you wouldn't answer?
I didn't say anything.
Anything.
I didn't say anything.
Absolutely anything. I don't give
Anything.
a fuck. Yeah, what do you want?
Because if it's something I can't answer, you can use it against me. So I might as well put it out there now.
Okay, I'll let back to this question. Is
Look at
is
the
there a
white
man
man trying to get some
Right,
evidence.
he's trying to figure out what he can do with it.
No,
Don't tell me anything.
Pulls out a notepad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Say it again into the microphone.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to hide. I don't give a fuck. Anyone that knows me knows what I'm about.
It is kind of freeing too to like get that shit. Like if you have anything in your past, get that shit off your chest.
Just get it because
I
people.
think, I think there's a difference between something to hide and things you keep just for you, right?
No,
There's not a
No.
Same difference.
It's
See,
not everything.
That's gray area,
thank
baby.
you, because that's,
That's
fundamentally
gray area,
where I
baby.
was going.
That's called gray area. That's called gray area. Now you can put whatever.
There's nothing that I need to keep to myself. There's nothing that I'm ashamed of. There's nothing like I am me. I am me on purpose at this point. I am not me because I am a collection of ragtag ideas. I am not me because I stumbled my way through life. I fucking fought to get here. I know exactly who I am and what I am now.
But you also said don't let people question you.
But I answered the question. This is the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not running around saying who I am or what the fuck I do.
Yeah.
But if you come to me, you got a legitimate question, we can talk about it. I don't give a fuck. But if I don't want to answer the question, I don't want to answer the question. But I'm not answering the question because I got something to hide. If you a motherfucker that's not privileged to that information, you can't ask me shit. But this motherfucker asked me anything. As much as I badger him about the fuck on his life, of course you can ask me anything because I badger you to that degree. So it's only fair.
I'm not necessarily. It's not like a question that I have or anything that I could ask anybody in this room. But to what Trevor said is like, is there something, some ball of emotion, some experience, something that you wouldn't talk about if questioned directly?
No,
like if I asked you about, some member of a family where, it was traumatic for you.
Humans ain't shit. I don't give a fuck. We can talk about them. I don't care. I told you. I love them, but I don't like them. We can talk about them.
I love it, but I don't like them.
And a more rational way to answer that. There is no emotion I am tied to the point where I need to keep it to myself. I am not tied to anything in my past on that level. I am not tied to anything in my present in that level. There is no emotion that drives me. There is no emotion that I couldn't share with you about a time or a place or a thing. And to try and have something that you keep for yourself is like weird and greedy, and it speaks to a deeper issue.
Yeah.
But so would you agree, because you said something in there, I don't remember the verbiage exactly, but there are things that in the moment you would keep to yourself, and then once time has passed, yes, but in that moment.
What I am saying is I am now the person that doesn't have anything to hide or give a fuck about it. You are still in a position where there's something that you care for good reason, bad reason, whatever. I'm not trying to lay an emotion to it. But there is something that you choose not to share because you're not ready to fucking deal with it yet.
Yeah, so like you don't want to be responsible. No, you don't want to be responsible for who you are. You remember there's a lot of things you just haven't answered. You just like, I'm not answering that because you don't want to deal with what comes after answering that.
There's nothing I'm afraid to deal with.
If my answer burns the shit down, it was supposed to be burnt the fuck down, if I'm being honest.
But
True.
I mean, you said something in there, and intentionally or unintentionally, is just like you. Once you're ready to talk about it, it's just a thing. It's not it doesn't hold weight. But there are times where, forever, how long it could be, an hour, could be a week, it could be a year, where it's just like, I am not ready to engage in that conversation.
I am not like that anymore.
At all.
Because
There is no hour window. There is no 5-minute cooldown window. If there's something going on that needs to be addressed, I will stop you in whatever the fuck you are doing, and I will address it. Because I don't give a fuck about your passive-aggressive needs in that moment. I am not going to spend the rest of my night what-ifing. I'm not going to spend the next 20 minutes trying to figure out what you're thinking when I can just fucking ask you what the fuck you're thinking.
No. You're conflating the two. For you personally, like, I don't know, what's a good traumatic episode? Like a family member dying or something like that? Like, I don't know. Something close that is intangible and unrelatable to other people.
I don't have it, James. There's nothing
This is why
that I
niggas
am
bust
holding
people
on
head.
to.
This motherfucker's going to...
I'm trying to tell you how I exist, and you are trying to project something onto me that doesn't exist in my world, James.
No, I get it.
No, you don't get it because
so
you
bad,
keep
man.
asking me the same fucking question.
We're gonna have
you
to-
can either listen to my answer or you can at least stop asking the same question.
We're gonna have to use end power.
I
now.
live in a world, James, where I don't have to worry about those emotions. If I feel there is something that needs to be addressed, I will address you. I will do it in person before I do it via text or phone call. Do you know why? Because then you can't mistake my context if I'm looking you in the eye when I ask you a question. But if I text you a question, your brain can be like, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, and I'm not going to put you in that position out of respect for you, my friend. If I have a fucking problem or if I have an emotion I don't understand, I don't mean to make it sound like it's an aggressive issue. If I could be sad because I think you said something that I don't want to project on you. But I am at the point now where I will just be like, James, did I upset you with that? I'm sorry, let's discuss that. Because I'm not going to waste time what-ifing for fucking a week before I see you again. That is a waste of energy. It is a waste of time. It is a waste of brain power. And it's not very healthy.
This is why they have white people explaining themselves out to black people, because they're trying to get you to this point to where you can just incorporate this into your daily life and you don't have to say it out loud. But that's why you're on the other spectrum of him. You're going towards him, but you're way the fuck back there. It is. It's to where you're afraid to be who you are. He's okay with who he is. You have to pass through these barriers. There's been too many times, James, to we've asked you questions about yourself and you're like, I don't want to talk about that because it incorporates other people that you're keeping up some facade for. Or they may think of you a certain way and you don't want to tarnish that thought, or whatever thought they have of you or whatever lie you got going on, whatever, you don't want to fuck that up. And so you're keeping up something that you can't talk about outright. So you're confining yourself and you're choosing to do this because this person thinks this way about you, and if you say this, they're going to think another way, and you don't want to deal with that, just like you don't want to deal with no.
I would disagree with that.
How? Are you James?
No, I would disagree with that.
Well, James, do you disagree? Because I was talking to you.
I do, but I'm going to let...
Why are you going to let him answer your question?
Oh, because-
Why do you disagree? I'll talk to him later. Why do you disagree?
I have...
Don't say what I said in your fucked up way.
Because we've all seen you do that, James. Or at least the three of us have.
You gotta just, James. Y'all gotta stop being so fucking arrogant.
I will not implicate other
people into my own behavior.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I shouldn't even stopped you.
No,
My
you're
bad.
good.
Continue.
I was just going to say, I think I would disagree with the idea that you're scared or whatever. You have to tell me these things about you. It's a way of me bowing down and agreeing with you when it's okay for me to be like, no, that's just for me.
No. If we're
That's
in the
just
course
for
of a
me.
conversation, there's
Yeah.
pertinent information, and you don't want to tell it, not because you can't tell it, but because this other person is going to react some way to something you did in your motherfucking life, regardless of anybody that's else part of it. It's your life. It's from your perspective. You can talk from your perspective. How are these other motherfuckers keeping you from saying your perspective on something? That's all I'm asking. I don't give a fuck about the other people. I'm talking about your perspective.
So,
And that hang on, no, 'cause that exactly
I
ties
have
into
a
my
direct
question.
response to this.
Go ahead.
If you told me not, or if I told you, this is more likely. If I told you, do not tell anybody that this happened, would you respect that?
What? This podcast?
Whatever it may be. You and I have some event. We witnessed something. We did something. Whatever it may be.
If he told
And
you a
I-
secret, could you keep
and
it?
I asked you, do not tell anybody about this. Would you respect my request?
It would depend on why you're asking me that. Why are you telling me that? Why don't you want anybody to know? What are you trying to keep a secret?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does.
It does.
It does.
And that's why I don't tell you secrets. Go ahead.
James, here's my tear apart for that argument. I tell 100 stories on this podcast without implicating other people. So you choose to hold on to something because I don't know the people you're talking about unless you're talking about Jacob Hamill.
Yo.
I swear to God. I don't like nothing personal. You're a rad guy. If you did drugs, I would do drugs with you. But I don't give a fuck about the people you work with. I don't give a fuck about the people you hang out with when I'm not here. So to think that I would be able to piece together something because you feel that you would implicate something, that is entirely on you.
And plus, you're only using that as
No.
a scapegoat because we never ask you to implement anybody. We usually ask you how you feel about something, and that's what you deny.
Your opinion
Thank
of a
you.
subject has nothing to do with whether or not it happened to another person.
We never asked you give up this motherfucker.
I never
we
said
asked you,
snitch.
Yep.
I never said I want those details.
Nope. Hold on. This is what I've learned over the several hundred hours the four of us have spent
Yes.
in a room together doing this. That if I open the front gates, it's like arguing at the throne room. Be like, no, but I think you all should leave. Be like, yo, we're right here. What's up? It's like, no, you've gotten to the inner sanctum of shit I'm not going to share. And you're like, what the fuck? And you fucking badgered the shit out of me. It's like, no, I'm just going to leave it up and be like, I'm not going to deal with that question because I don't have the defenses later on. My whole militia is on the border. Once I let you through the front door, it's
defenses
over.
against what? Defenses later on against what? Against
Yeah,
me?
that makes it seem like we're coming at you with malicious
Thank
intent.
you.
Why do you need to be defended from us?
Because he's a white man. He thinks everybody's coming for him. It's ingrained in him. That's why they like that. They think everybody want their shit. I'm telling you, his whole existence is predicated off of keeping what he got, and he ain't got shit.
If you truly believe that you need to defend your ideals from me, I'll stop doing this podcast. That's ridiculous.
That's nothing to.
That's
not
what
at
you
all.
said, James. You can either be aware of your words and how you use them, or you can look at me like I'm a crackhead.
No, I'm.
But you said my militia's on the front line. Why do you need defenses when you're having a conversation?
Because I know things that I'm not going to talk about in this room.
Let me tell you why. No, let me tell you.
On these mics. I will talk about it in this room with all of you. I will always. But there are times where I'm not going to put it through this microphone.
And that's never been my problem with you, James.
And that's
my
it.
problem is your decision to stay with something that is not a representation of what you are at this time.
Let me explain to you, Bill, why this is like. We talked about this last night. Same situation. This is what people do. And this ain't even white people. This is just people in general. You have friends or whoever, people you talk to, and you share details about your secret or your private life. Then as soon as things get bad, they take all the information and use it as ammo against you. I'll never. Let me tell you something. Motherfuckers have been so dirty to me, James. I mean, dirtball dirt. And I know shit that could crush their lives. I never, because that ain't me. That ain't in me. I don't have to do that to you because you're going to incur your own karma. Because all I do is try to help people. Regardless of what you think about me, all I do is try to help motherfuckers. I do it in my own way, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like I don't try to do motherfuckers dirty. If I got to do you dirty, I'll just leave you the fuck alone.
I've never,
But it's been motherfuckers, they do you dirty, but then they expect you to be a piece of shit and then be like them and tell all their business. I don't do that because I'm not on your level.
Yeah.
I'll make you feel like shit because you just sold your soul to get at me trying to get me to sell my soul, and I'm not gonna sell my soul. So I'm not gonna do that.
I have a slightly different take on that.
Go ahead.
Everything you said, I agree with, except it's the other side of that coin. Is I'm more than happy to share anything about myself with anybody if they ask the question. On mic, different story. We'll take that out of the equation.
Well, you can't
Hold
say
on.
it. James, you
Stop.
can't say it. No. Let me tell you. You cannot say that you're willing to do it and then put an implication or accept. No, just say you won't do it.
There's hundreds of people I have no fucking interest in that are going to listen to this, and I'm not fucking telling them.
You don't
I'm
have to
gonna
have
tell
interest in.
my
Do you have
friends
interest in
this
us? Do you
room.
have interest in us
So
in our
hold
conversations?
Yeah.
on.
That's what it's about. It's not about who's listening. It's about us.
So, hold on. The problem that I have is not how other people are going to use it. Like, I don't fear that. I fear myself accusing them of it. Like, why am I afraid of it? I've told people I don't give a fuck. But if things go wrong, do I accuse them of being the person? Like that's me. That's a me problem. It has nothing to do with other people. It's my perception of them, and it is all of that. And so that's why I'm very careful. It has a lot more to do with trust in myself than trust in other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sure sense. Go ahead, Barry.
You fuck.
Nah, I'm done.
So okay,
doesn't-
quick
it doesn't
question.
matter.
Quick question. So what you're afraid of possibly like with this whole like
It's imaginary.
no is it because you think people who know the person who listens to the show are going to do simple detective work and go blah 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 and then that's the person?
Oh, there's definitely that.
But
Well,
it
that-
seems
I'm not
like you're
defending
talking
that,
about
yeah.
a specific personal instance. There's been so many times, James, where we've been talking about things in the course of a situation, and we may be talking about something that slightly relates to a situation you got going on, and we're just asking your opinion on something, and you're like, I'm not going to, because you feel like you're implicating yourself in something that we're not even really asking you, but it's similar to what's going on. We may be in the ballpark, and then we ask you, and you feel like it's going to implicate you in something else. But we don't know what's going on with you, James, like that, directly to that degree, to be asking you these poignant questions like this, that, and the other. We don't ask you, who did this? Who did that? It's never nothing like that, James. It's always, how do you feel about this? What happened here? This, that, and the other. So the things you deny aren't these things that you're trying to make it seem like we're trying to get out of you. Like we're trying to fucking interrogate you about cases that if you say something, you're going to go to jail. It's never that. You're making up bullshit, James. That's why I'm sitting here wanting to punch you in your fucking knee because we don't do that to you. We ask you general shit. Go ahead.
I would like to get back to a previous question where I was blown off so you could be aggressive for no reason. If someone asks me to keep a secret and it is a harmless secret, I don't give a fuck. I'll keep that secret forever. If like my homegirl's like, I really love to smell my underwear after I take it off before I shower.
Isn't what
It doesn't
harmless?
hurt
What's
anyone.
harmless subjective?
But if someone's like,
So you're
oh, my
you're
hut-
the
hang on,
arbitrator of what's harmless, though.
that's fine. I live my
Yes.
existence.
Yeah.
I don't live your existence. I don't live his existence. I don't live his existence. But if someone comes to me that I consider enough to be a friend that I would keep said secret and tells me that they are in somehow danger or they have done something very bad, my concern as a friend is to help them more than to keep their retarded secret. Now, what you have to figure out, and you don't have to figure it out right now, take all the time in life that you need, is what secrets are worth keeping and what, like, a lot of times someone's like, don't tell anyone. It's a fucking plea for help.
And most of the time, the secrets you keep, no one's going to come ask you about them.
No one gives a fuck about that secret.
Other than the
except
motherfucker that told you. Yeah, other than you and the motherfucker that told you. But no one's going to come, what was the secret this person? Nigga, who the fuck you think you are, James Bond? Nobody's going to come try to, what was the secret? I'm telling you, it's illusionary in your mind, man. But you're making, it's all bullshit, James. Just so you don't take responsibility. I don't give a fuck. You can talk to me all day, James. It's basic shit that you over-sophisticated and made elaborate just to not take responsibility. That's the end.
This is the end. Do.
So saith the Armstrong.